From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, aspirants storm APC Secretariat to get nomination and expression of interest forms as political activities intensify. Former Senate President Bukola Saraki seeks support from just delegates as race for PDP presidential ticket gathers momentum. Abuja-Kaduna train attackers release photographs of abducted victims. And on the foreign scene, Russia to suspend a gas supply to Poland. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I'm Dashan Husseina Usman. Now the news in detail. Aspirants into various elective positions under the platform of the ruling All Progressives Congress are beginning to trickle to the party secretariat in Abuja to obtain the expression of interest and nomination forms. Trust TV's Shafi'u Suleiman reports that the commencement of the exercise ignited a beehive of activities as it electrifies the national secretariat of the party.
The commencement of sales of nomination forms and, of course, the interest forms at the All Progressives Congress Secretariat here in Abuja have electrified, activities at the Secretariat. As you can see behind me, political supporters and other interests, especially those who are engaged in petty businesses, have also commenced their activities, in top gear. They are cashing in on this exercise, which will certainly bring a lot of crowd, to the Secretariat.
I came here to purchase the form for the State House of Assembly. We women, we are being given concession and we are being promised free our form. It's only the expression form that we are going to buy.
Which is?
This is 500,000.
As aspirants across the country continue to trickle into the APC Secretariat here in Abuja, a woman aspirant just told us how she obtained her nomination form and her expression of interest form at just 500,000 naira instead of 2 million naira, which was the official tag for those aspiring for State House of Assembly elections in their respective state. Remember, the APC had pegged its presidential nomination form and expression of interest at 100 million naira, and that of the governors at 50 million naira, while the senators, those aspiring for the Senate, will have to pay 20 million naira, and House of Representatives aspirants would have to part way with 10 million naira. At the party secretariat here, we're beginning to see a number of aspirants, coming in to obtain these forms. From the APC Secretariat here in Abuja, Shafi'u Suleiman, Trust TV News.
As politicians jostle for the nation's presidency in 2023, former Senate President Bukola Saraki has said that it is the turn of the North Central geopolitical zone to lead the country. Saraki spoke on Tuesday in Jos when he addressed delegates from Plateau ahead of the People's Democratic Party's primary elections slated to hold in May. The former Kwara governor, who is among the many aspirants in the race for the PDP ticket, pointed out that the North Central had consistently supported other regions to lead the country and deserved similar support from other zones this time. Saraki said that if given the opportunity, he would run an open government that would be transparent and fair to all Nigerians. Still talking politics, Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal on Tuesday held a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House in Abuja. Tambuwal, after the meeting, declined to brief State House correspondents on the outcome of the meeting. However, sources say the meeting is not unconnected with the state of the nation, especially insecurity, where terrorists have resumed the bombings that greeted the pre-2015 election period. Although Tambuwal is of the opinion that the People's Democratic Party fillers have it that the two leaders delved into the recent political happenings in the country. Presidential aspirant of the ruling All Progressives Congress, Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State, will on Wednesday pick his expression of interest and nomination forms. The governor paid for the 100 million naira forms on Tuesday morning, making him the first to officially seal his aspiration to the office of the president in 2023. According to a statement by the Director, Media and Publicity, Yahaya Bello Presidential Campaign Organization, Yemi Kolakbo, the governor had declared his presidential ambition at the Eagle Square in Abuja on April 2nd, 2022. He is contesting despite the agitation for zoning of the office of the South. Bello hails from the North Central, where the national chairman of the party, Alhaji Abdullahi Adamu, also comes from. Chief Whip of the Senate, Orji Uzokalu, has dropped out of the presidential race, hinting that he would rather channel his energy towards a return to the Senate at the end of the 9th National Assembly. Senator Kalu announced his decision on Tuesday through his verified Instagram page, explaining that there was no point in joining the contest without the full support of other regions. The former two-term governor of Abia State pointed out that 4 of the 6 geopolitical regions of the country have produced the president and vice president at different times, leaving out the southeast and northeast regions. Since there is a clamor to zone the ticket to the south, he believes now is the time for leaders in the region to throw their weight behind the southeast to produce the next president. Now talking insecurity, residents of Adagba community in Yaba ward of Abaji area council of the FCT have fled their homes after bandits attacked the community, killing a 23-year-old man, Nura Megeda, and a girl, stealing almost 20 motorcycles. The bandits were said to have also abducted about 16 residents of the community and carted away food items and cash. Trust TV's Madia Umar visited the community and now reports.
Adagba community, home to over 1,500 people, is about 40 kilometers drive from Abaji town. On our way to the community, we see residents carrying their belongings and fleeing to safety.
The rate of insecurity in this part of town is becoming unbearable. It didn't just happen in Adagba community in Yaba ward in the Abaji local government or Abaji area council, so to speak, but it also happened in neighboring villages where people are already scampering for safety. As you can see behind me in the Yaba Lafia community, very close to the Adagba community in the Yaba ward, Abaji area council of the Federal Capital Territory, people are already making their way out of the community because they fear the worst. And that is the situation of things right now.
The Madaki of Adagba, Adamu Wambai, is surrounded by the rest of the villages yet to flee, speaks about how a home to more than 1,500 residents has turned to a ghost town.
We have to go to forest, far place, to go and sleep. Because of them, they may come at any time. The way they used to come. They may come at any time, the way they used to come. And one will say we'll sleep at home now. We don't know what may happen. Now we kill. They're now coming not to pick anybody. They're coming for slaughter. That is what they promise. Nothing is done. And from that turning back to go back to where they came from, the villages, so that they cannot be able to sleep today without this security, they decide to leave the village. Now we are now, just for those of us that are eldest people in the village, we are not more than up to 10 now.
A health worker who is also an eyewitness tells his story.
I came here weekend to survey my clinic and discover that kidnappers came in the night and everybody was running, taking care of his life. So even we, the staff in Adagba PHC, we enter inside the clinic. We hide ourselves. You know, when we enter, we even leave the door open because when they discover that the door is open, they will think that there's nobody. The quarters where it is locked, they even try to open the window to check whether people are inside. So we hide ourselves inside the clinic, hearing what is going on, shooting bullets, calling people, breaking doors. People were running everywhere in the night.
On our way out of the community, we met the village head just returning from a security meeting which had in attendance the chairman of Abaji Area Council and security agents. He tells us the new security arrangements put in place.
This thing is affecting us, so I go to the chief of Yaba, tell him that this is what is happened to us, to Adagwa village. So from there, he said he called the commissioner of police and the area council executive chairman. So for that, we discussed with him. That's what is happened to us. He said the chairman said he will take the action.
The people of Adagba are begging for prompt security response as the attackers have promised to return before the end of the Ramadan fast. Martia Umar, Trust Television News, Abuja.
Some more politics. Cross River State Governor Professor Ben Ayade Tuesday in Abuja said he had secured the approval of President Muhammadu Buhari to hold consultations leading up to unveiling his plans to contest for the presidential ticket of the All Progressives Congress. He also declared to rally behind former President Goodluck Jonathan if he emerges the APC's presidential flag bearer ahead of next year's election. Ayade disclosed this to State House correspondents shortly after his meeting with the president at Aso Rock Villa. The report.
The Cross River State Governor joins the list of presidential hopefuls on the platform of the All Progressives Congress. His entry is a surprise, but he claims he was actually preempted by President Buhari and asked to join the race.
I am also giving it out as a lesson for those who know what is called loyalty. That while I sought to align with the president said, you two be out there and let's see how it goes. So if you ask me the question, am I running? My answer is that I am running because the president have said, you go while I watch.
And what does he intend to do if he gets to be president?
I do not believe that the forces of demand and supply should dictate the value of our currency. The value of our currency is a reflection of the integrity of the nation. No foreign direct investment can come into a country whose local currency is not strong enough. If a country like Malta, a country like Kuwait, will have an irreversible conversion rate, Nigeria has no business subjecting our currency to the forces of demand and supply, all things being equal, when we know the concept of ceteris paribus never applies in real life. Therefore, there must be a structural and normative framework intended squarely to address the exchange rate between the Naira and the dollar. 1st October 2023, our Independence Day, the dollar rate to Naira will be fixed.
With the plethora of presidential aspirants on the platform of the ruling party, things are starting to look very much like the contest in 2007. Then, former President Olusegun Obasanjo encouraged whoever came to ask for his blessing to join the race. Of course, the aspirant least expected to emerge became the candidate of the ruling party. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amudu, Trust TV News.
Terrorists continue to unleash mayhem on communities of Katsina State even in the month of Ramadan. People in the security-prone community spend nights on top of trees and other places perceived to be secured for the fear of bandits' attacks. Abdullahi Yamadi gives us an update on the insecurity situation in Katsina State.
It's like a daily occurrence. Hardly a day passes without hearing a case of kidnapping, killing, and of course wrestling of animals in this part of the country. The most recent one is that of insecurity of Kukar Babangide village on Katsina Jibia Road, who was reportedly killed last Sunday night, leaving behind his 2 wives and 13 children. The terrorists attacked the village on motorbikes and went straight to the residence of insecurity, where they shot and killed him instantly. Kukar Babangida is a community located some 12 kilometers to Jibia town, and there is a combined security checkpoint at the village. In fact, the villagers lamented the inaction of the security operatives and called for a more proactive measures to end the incessant killings, abductions, and rustling of animals happening almost on a daily basis. Similarly, it is now 1 week since the abduction of Karima Rabiu Aja and Zainab Abdullahi, wives of Alhaji Abdullahi Lawal, manager of Damarana Filling Station, Malumfashi, in Malumfashi local government area of Katsina State. Karima, aged 28, a mother of 4, was pregnant when she was abducted alongside her co-wife, Zainab. The bandits stormed Nairimi area of Malumfashi town around 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday, 18th April 2022, riding on motorcycles. The bandits were also reported to be heavily armed with AK-47 assault rifles, shooting sporadically to scare the people.
Department of State Services has broken its silence on the resurgence of bomb attacks in the country. Lives were lost when suspected Islamic State in West African province fighters carried out 2 separate attacks in Taraba and 1 in Yobe State last week. Commenting on the development, Peter Funanya, DSS spokesman, said there were plans by criminal elements to return the country to the pre-2015 era, reminiscent of IED attacks on soft and hard targets in parts of the country. He said the service had uncovered the plot to attack critical infrastructures, worship places and relaxation centers during and after the holidays. The objective, Afunanya stated, is to achieve some self-serving interests as well as cause fear among the citizenry. Terrorists on Tuesday released photos of passengers abducted from Kaduna-bound train a month ago. The bandits had earlier released video footages of the hostages. At least 9 persons were killed and 26 others wounded when the terrorists bombed and sprayed the train with bullets, forcing it to derail. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana has got the fiat from the Osun State government to lead prosecution in the case of alleged murder of a student of the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Timothy Adegoke, at Hilton Hotel in Ile-Ife, where the student lodged. The owner of Oduduwa University, who also owns Hilton Hotel Ile-Ife, Dr. Ramon Adedoyin, and 6 of his staff are standing trial at the Osun State High Court in Osogbo over the death of the student. Hamid Oyegbade files the report.
Other suspects include Magdalene Chefuna, Adeniyi Aderoba, Uluwale Lawrence, Oyetunde Kazim, Adebayo Kunle, and Adedeji Adeshola. They are standing trial along with their employer, the owner of Hilton Hotel, Ile-Ife, Dr. Ramon Adedoyin, on charges bordering on conspiracy, murder, altering of receipt, and tampering with corpse of the late student. At the resumed trial on Monday, the lead prosecuting counsel from the headquarters of the Nigerian Police Force, Matthew Omosun, announced his appearance for prosecution, but the Administrator General and Public Trustee of the Ministry of Justice in Osun State, Abiodun Badiora, early informed the court that the state government will take over prosecution of the matter. While announcing his appearance, human rights lawyer Femi Falana told the court that he had gotten a fiat from the Osun State government to lead their prosecution.
We informed the court that we are, based on the fiat from the Attorney General of Osun State, that we are going to lead the prosecution because the police team has done marvelously well. So we are only leading, we are not taking over the case. We are leading the prosecution at this stage.
Adedoyin's lawyer, KK Eleja, said his client will not call any evidence considering the evidence before the court. The judge, Justice Adekbele Ojo, adjourned the matter till May 25th.
Moving to health. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in every 4 Nigerians suffer a mental health issue. This has made it imperative for people to pay attention to their mental health, as it has become a common occurrence to find more and more people dealing with issues of mental health today. Fatima Saliladan has more.
One of the integral and essential components of human health is mental health. According to World Health Organization, mental health is fundamental to collective and individual ability as humans to think, emote, interact with each other, earn a living, and enjoy life. Sadly, majority of people pay less or no attention to their mental health. In a chat with Trust TV, Dr. Nafisa Hayatuddin, a consultant psychiatrist, spoke on some of the causes of mental disorders.
People that are naturally worrisome. There are some people that just worry. They worry a lot over small issues and things like that. People like that are more likely to develop mental illnesses like anxiety disorders or depression.
She decried the negative impact of social stigma on cases of mental illness.
If today I stigmatize or ostracize somebody, I humiliate somebody because they have a mental illness, tomorrow I might be the one at the receiving end of this same treatment. So let us try to be more empathic and humane. Let us be more compassionate and try and empathize with people that are going through mental health challenges. Assist them. Offer them a shoulder to cry on. Let people be comfortable, be able to trust you and vent. Share their problems with you, and then seek help for them.
Dr. Nafisa says despite the high burden of mental illness, it has thus far not received commensurate visibility and policy action on the part of the government.
Having vagrants on the streets, I feel, is a failure on the part of society, not just on the part of the relatives. Because if we had a society or a system that saw people with mental illness like me and you, nobody is immune to having a mental illness. So it becomes more difficult. They become the property of the state. They become the property of government. So we need to have more systems in place that can actually cater for the needs of people with mental illness.
She called on the government to prioritize mental health issues in its programs and activities. Fatima Sadaladan, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
50 victims of last Friday's illegal refinery explosion have been given a mass burial at Abeze Forest in Abacheke Kpofire community in Ohaji, Ebema local government area of Imo State. The burial came less than a week after the explosion killed more than 110 people. The exercise was supervised by the chairman of a local government, Marcel Amadioha, security agents and officials of the National Emergency Management Agency. The victims were buried in 3 graves dug by locals at about 5 p.m. on Tuesday. Chairman of the local government, who spoke to newsmen at the site, said 50 of the victims could not be identified. One of the youth leaders, Ben Marcus, who spoke to our correspondent, said some of the victims were identified by their relatives and were allowed to carry them for burial. He urged the government to provide employment for the teeming youths of the community to dissuade them from getting involved in such illegal and risky business. You're watching Trust News Hour. Coming up after the break, scavengers and security risk. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at some of our top stories. You heard that aspirants storm APC Secretariat to get nomination and expression of interest forms as political activities intensify. We also told you that former Senate President Bukola Saraki seeks support from just delegates as race for PDP presidential ticket gathers momentum. To more news, 7 children have been reported dead following torrential rainfall and windstorm in Gasa local government area of Taraba State Saturday. Daily Trust gathered that the 7 children that died are between the ages of 3 and 7. Similarly, over 250 houses were destroyed with foodstuff and animals worth thousands of naira. Worst affected by the windstorm include Mutumbiu, Mukorna, Bajimba, Barjanga, and Mayoreno towns. Father of 2 of the children that died, Abdul Qadir Salim, told Daily Trust he and his 3 children, 2 boys and 2 girls and a boy, were staying in the same room which collapsed on them during the heavy rainfall that came with the windstorm. The chief of Mutumbiu Chiefdom, Justice Sani Mohammed, who visited the affected areas, condoled with those affected by the disaster. He urged National Emergency Management Agency to assist victims with building materials and food. NEMA Head of Operation Yola Office, Ladan Ayuba, told Daily Trust that he will lead his team to the affected areas for an assessment. A federal high court in Abuja has ordered the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, Nladi Umar, to appear before the Senate over an assault on the private security guard in Abuja. The Senate had summoned Umar to appear before it over the March 29, 2021 assault on the guard Clement Sagwak at Banex Plaza, Wuse 2, Abuja. Umar reportedly assaulted the guard for directing him to park his vehicle properly. Delivering the judgment on Thursday, Justice Inyang Eko held that a public officer administering the law, Umar, is answerable to the Senate on issues bordering on moral standards and conduct. Justice Eko said Umar's suit seeking to stop his probe by the Senate lacked merit and consequently dismissed same. People of Congolum are requesting or questioning the rationale behind the continued closure of the international border adjacent to their town. Congolum is a border town in Mayadua local government area of Katsina State, less than 15 kilometers from the residence of President Muhammadu Buhari in Daura town. Abdullahi Amadi completes the report.
People of Jibia, who are mostly traders, take advantage of their closeness to the international border to import and export goods and services to earn a living. Since the official closure of the border in 2019, people of the area have been groaning as their businesses suffered. The official reopening of the Jibia border by the federal government last Friday is therefore seen by most residents of Jibia as a new lease of life.
We cannot even quantify the amount of joy in us over the recent development by opening the border. For the last couple of years that the border has been closed, we have suffered so much. So many people have lost their business. So many people have suffered. But now that the border has been opened, I think it has raised our hope.
Jibia residents are hopeful that the reopening of the border will rejuvenate the economy of the area and the country as a whole. They are also pledging their unflinching support to the authorities and promise to ensure a well-coordinated free flow of business from within and beyond.
Since we received the news that the border is going to be reopened, we have been in good mood because we know the amount of suffering we have been passing through in Jibia local government. But we hope with this reopening of border, things will get back normal.
The border was closed at least 2 years back. We were suffering in terms of economic sufferings. Activities stopped. Now, inshallah, we hope that things will come to order.
A ceremonial reopening of the Jibia International Border presented the opportunity for Controller Katsina Area Command of the Nigeria Customs Service, Dalhawada Chedi, to outline the rules governing the reopening of the border.
Comme export ba local
It is not just about reopening of the border. You people must cooperate because there are some do's and don'ts. There is need for cooperation and the people need to come together. You need to sensitize your people. And there are a lot of engagements that we are going to have with all the stakeholders. The controller has warned people of the area against acts that could jeopardize the process or lead to another shutdown of the border. The chairman of Jibia local government and the 2 district heads of Jibia and Dara indicated their support to all government's policies and programs. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
After about 4 years of being banned, scavengers in the Federal Capital Territory are still very visible, not only in the approved dump sites but across the city center. With the rising insecurity in the country, government and residents are concerned that scavenging is being used as cover for crime and criminality. These concerns led to the ban on scavengers in the first place. Our correspondent looks at the enforcement of the ban vis-a-vis its environmental implication. The report.
Waste pickers, locally known as babambola, play a significant role in protecting the environment from hazardous waste disposal practices, as well as serving as a source of livelihood in communities. However, some residents and government see the activities of waste pickers as a security threat, outweighing the benefits.
I am a member of the vigilante, and the moment I observe scavengers around, I suspect theft. Due to the activities of scavengers, it is no longer safe to keep items as they could be stolen. They could even burgle your house.
This CCTV footage shows a thief stealing a generator set in pretense of being a waste collector. But despite the ban on the activities of waste pickers by the Federal Capital Territory Administration in May 2018, hundreds of them thronged the streets of Abuja in search of disposed items to trade for cash.
My parents and friends are all in Kano. We have only come here to look for money. We pick items such as aluminium and copper wires. In these our business, we don't steal. Anyone found stealing here will be sanctioned.
A few weeks ago, the police arrested and paraded over 100 waste pickers for violating the initial ban on scavenging by the FCTA.
They use this babambola system in order to start stealing. And that is why we say no. We have to be arresting them. So wherever you see them, you can call us on any of our lines. We want to clear them off FCT.
Experts have argued that rather than a ban on the activities of waste pickers, the FCTA should consider better ways of regulating their activities.
Communities need to realize that waste pickers are providing an essential social service. And if they are to be taken away, the health risk and environmental injuries within the society will be amplified. People will be going to hospitals more. People will be having environmentally related diseases more and more. So there has to be a balance. And the way this balance can be truly established is for AAPB, AMAC, and the clusters, because these waste pickers have clusters that are well organized. Let them sit together probably with the security agencies to find a way forward.
According to Bioenergy Consult, Nigeria generates more than 32 million tons of solid waste annually, out of which only 20 to 30% is collected. But with the clampdown on waste pickers, the implication of the policy on the environment remains to be seen.
The Zamfara State branch of the Red Cross Society says it has recruited 150 volunteers to sensitize residents of the state on the need to key into the prevention and control of malaria. The secretary of the state branch of the society, Ibrahim Bello, made this known during the commemoration of World Malaria Day in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital. The report.
Zamfara State has joined the global community to mark World Malaria Day with an awareness walk through major streets of Gusau, the state capital. The walk terminated at the palace of the Emir of Gusau, where representatives of the state government came to seek the support of the traditional institution to curtail the menace. The secretary of the state branch of the Red Cross Society, Ibrahim Bello, said the essence of the road walk was to create awareness on the importance of keeping a clean environment and adhere to the measures geared towards preventing and controlling malaria in the state. He explained that the day was instituted to create awareness regarding malaria and its devastating impact on human lives and the economy.
Yeah, actually, Nigeria Red Cross Society, as one of the partners supporting Zamfara State, in area of malaria elimination and disease surveillance. We are working in 8 LGAs that are security compromised because of the network of our volunteers. That's why the CDC Atlanta and the International Federation of Red Cross engage us to support the state in ensuring that we take malaria messages to those areas where some partners and even people cannot reach.
Other speakers emphasized the need for governments to partner with relevant stakeholders to eradicate malaria in the country.
So as community guy, let me use that word, we work with the community, we relate with the community. The best way and the best aspect we want from the community is cooperation, and which we have been getting. We are in touch with all stakeholders, relevant stakeholders. We are in touch with all established existing community structures, religious leaders, traditional leaders, and even the artisans that are living in Zamfara State, just to find out how do we mobilize ourselves and work together so that we eradicate Zamfara State, or eradicate malaria in Zamfara State.
We have Red Cross, the one that supported with this activity and the breakthrough action, and they are the one that helping us with the social mobilization and awareness on malaria activity. And Red Cross, they have volunteers that are going inside town to do mobilization so that our people can be able to go and access the malaria treatment and malaria care.
Zamfara State branch of the Red Cross Society hinted that it has already recruited volunteers who they are working together with to sensitize residents in 8 local government areas of the state to appreciate the need for the control of malaria in their various communities.
We sincerely apologize for the mix-up on the border closure, story. We'll bring you, the correct report in our subsequent bulletin. Moving on, in order to curb the menace of open defecation in the Federal Capital Territory and Nigeria at large, a civil society organization has launched its findings following a sensitization and awareness creation campaign on cholera and its effects on children between the age of 0 to 5 years, which was carried out within the FCT. Trust TV's Sigir Ibrahim has details.
The Center for Environmental Sustainability and Development Awareness, CESDA, following its sensitization campaign on open defecation, cholera and its effects on children aged 0 to 5 years, revealed its findings that much more needs to be done to end open defecation within the Federal Capital Territory and Nigeria.
In markets and parks that we have visited, we find out that they have limited facility in terms of toilet. So oftentimes some of these facilities are not inclusive in the sense that yes, there are other category of people or classes of people that are in the market and motor parks, that are not people we call PWDs. The only way we can curb the menace of open defecation is to, make available toilets and ask people to use it.
Other stakeholders called for public-private partnership to sustain government efforts and improve access to toilet facilities in public places.
It's a call to action for both citizens and government. Public utility, public toilets would be provided by government. Where government cannot provide it, public-private partnership, like they've said in this room, is very important. People can come up with ventures or interventions that would ensure that the service is there. I'm sure there would be people willing to pay.
It can lead to some great concerns that can impact on the mental health of the individuals living around these vicinities. It's very important because it's about it's not just about the health, the physical health of these individuals, but also the mental health of these ones. And that's why this program is very commendable, because there is no health without mental health.
Everybody is at risk with what is happening in this country. So the best thing is for us to control ourselves. Don't spoil the town. Don't urinate anyhow. Get a place. No matter how bad it is, it doesn't mean you are so pressed. It's not good now.
The project was carried out with support from the European Union Agents for Citizens-Driven Transformation ACT program and implemented by the British Council, and aims at putting an end to preventable deaths of newborn and children less than 5 years of age by 2030. Sagir Ibrahim reporting for Trust TV.
You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. More stories after the break.
Hello, welcome to Adam's Grill on Trust TV. I am Adam Mani Ngora, your host. In this program, we will be introducing you to a different style of cooking. We will now begin to prepare the rice on a finishing line. Here is an opportunity for you to watch, learn, and practice. If you don't make your food to be your medicine, then medicine will become your food.
Welcome back. As the Ramadan fast ends in a few days, Nigerians across the country will be traveling to different states to be with their loved ones in the spirit of the season. However, with inflation and insecurity, how smooth will the journeys be in terms of safety and cost? Chamun Debeng has more.
One of the most affected sectors by the recent inflation in Nigeria is the transport sector. This has made the cost of transportation to almost double across the federation. Tied to the cost of transportation is the issue of safety while traveling, especially by road. Recent cases of attacks on trains, kidnappings and robberies on the highway, among others, have combined to make traveling within the country a nightmare.
The insecurity on the road is becoming too much, more especially on the Lokoja, Okene Azeks. Kidnapping and robbery is becoming too much, and especially on the Edo side, Edo State, on the Chubo route, Delta Line route, it's becoming too much, because most of the times we that travel at night, we encounter robberies. Sometimes they kidnap our passengers, they take them inside the bush, and then I'll tell them how many million they will bring. It's becoming too much. At least we'll beg the government to find a solution.
It's very on the high side. Like, I think because of the fuel increment and the insecurity, so I think it's affecting both our drivers too. It's making everybody want to hide away. They want to go once and not go in the night, and so maybe go once. That going once, they want to take the money they would have used in going for 3 trips. So it triples the price of our transportation.
What I do now is on a trip, I try to save because cost of things have gone up. A fuel that we buy for 9,000 before, now we buy for 13,000. So what I do on each trip, I save a particular amount for maintenance. Because if I said, oh, I want to wait till when the car will be faulty and start looking for money, it's going to be held.
In the face of these challenges, Nigerians are asking for security on the highways to enable them travel safely. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In business, Central Bank of Nigeria on Tuesday before the National Industrial Court contested the court's order to pay 110 disengaged staff of the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria that were sacked in 1996 their entitlements. Joined in the suit as respondents are the 110 disengaged staff, the Minister, Federal Ministry of Education, and the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice as first, second, third, and fourth respondents. When the matter was called before Justice Rekia Hastrop, counsel to CBN Matthias Agboni informed the court that he had an application for stay of execution before the court. The judge, after listening to the submissions of the counsel, adjourned until May 17 for ruling. For decades, Nigeria's main export has been crude oil. However, as the market starts to move towards renewable energy amid unstable oil prices, there is need for the Nigerian government to boost its non-oil exports. As part of these efforts, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council held its maiden conference in Abuja under the theme Export for Survival, Optimizing Nigeria's Non-Oil Export Potentials. The report.
To know that the issues of trade facilitation is a very critical issue when we talk about trade. And when I talk about trade, I'm talking about imports and exports. Because even in the export business, particularly when you look at the value chain, it also requires some imports to be able to deliver some quality exports.
The Africa Development Bank has developed a $1.5 billion Africa Emergency Food Plan to protect the continent from the negative consequences that may come from the Russia-Ukraine war in terms of food security. The plan is now before the bank's board for approval. AFDB President Dr. Akinwumi Adesina announced this Tuesday at the presidential villa in Abuja while briefing President Muhammadu Buhari on steps being taken by the bank to avert food crisis in Africa in the foreseeable future. He said the Russian-Ukraine war will create global problems, and particularly for Africa, which imports a huge percentage of its food from two countries. Still talking business, the International Monetary Fund on Tuesday urged Sri Lanka to tighten its monetary policy, raise taxes, and adopt flexible exchange rates to overcome its debt crisis. Acting Director of the IMF's Asia and Pacific Department, Anne-Marie Gilderwolf, made the plea to Sri Lanka at a virtual event. However, Gilderwolf did not comment on the value of any IMF package or an estimated time needed to come into an agreement with Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan Finance Minister Ali Sabri and Governor of the Central Bank Nandalal Weshninge recently concluded a visit to the IMF to discuss financing help for the country. Away from Nigeria, Russia will stop sending gas to Poland from Wednesday. This is according to the Polish state gas company. PGING said Russian energy firm Gazprom had announced that all gas deliveries to the countries will be halted from 6 GMT. Gazprom has justified the suspension under new rules announced last month, which means friendly countries must pay for gas in rubles, which PGNiG has refused to do. It relies on Gazprom for most of its gas imports and brought 53% of its imports from the Russian company in the first quarter of this year. It has described the suspension as a breach of contract, adding that the company will take steps to reinstate the flow of gas. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has called for the ceasefire agreement as soon as possible during talks with Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in Moscow. He also met Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday. Speaking after meeting the UN Secretary-General in Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin repeated his justification for invading Ukraine, but says he has hopes for a diplomatic solution. Kyiv urged Guterres to push for Mariupol evacuations, with tens of thousands still stranded in the besieged port city. And finally, on sports, head coach and manager of Nigeria Cricket Federation, Asanka Gurusinha, has resigned. Adeni Ajishafe has more.
Head coach and high-performance manager of Nigerian Cricket Federation Asanka Gurusinha has resigned. Asanka resigned on health grounds which could not allow him perform his role as head coach of Nigerian Yellow Greens. Gurusinha was appointed cricket head coach in 2020 while instilling discipline in Nigerian cricket team and creating coaching development template for Nigerian cricket coaches. His resignation was confirmed in a letter signed by Secretary General of Nigerian Cricket Federation, Taiwo Oris. Asanka Gurusinha won 1996 Cricket World Cup with Sri Lanka. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
With that, we've come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Dashan Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.